So Pakistan was holding presidential elections. The dominant ethnic group in Pakistan are Punjabis. Sometimes the Sindhis, like the Bhutto family, I think they're Sindhi. But anyway, generally speaking, particularly the army, the Punjabis dominate. Bengalis live in Bangladesh. They won the election. And the Punjabis are furious. So they send the army to start butchering people in East Pakistan to overturn the election. So there are refugees pouring into India. So this is the backdrop of what is going on there. And for anyone who wasn't in the know, the United States is saying nothing about this. The United States, there's this massive humanitarian crisis. The United States got nothing to say. The United States has something to say about everything. But it had to do with this is the moment that Nixon is trying to get himself invited to Beijing so that he can talk to Mao about cooperating with the Chinese to overextend the Soviets in the Cold War, which is ultimately what we do, and it's very important to win the Cold War, and this is integral to this. But everyone else is looking and going, what on earth is going on? So you have Nixon's doing the mediation in the background. We got refugees flying all over the place. India comes to the United States and says, look, you need to tell the Chinese not to intervene in this thing. And the Indians also say, you need to bring this up at the UN, the human rights stuff, because India is literally getting millions of refugees trying to flee this mess, and the United States won't do any of it. And it gets even better. The United States has the gall to blame the Indians for the war. Dream on. So Indira Gandhi is just furious at this one. And so the United States had wished that India would cease being non-aligned and aligned with the West. Oh, well, they cease being non-aligned, all right. They sign a military pact with Russia over this. And then they upgrade their relationship with Vietnam, which totally upsets the United States. And it gets even better. They shut down Indians. They won't give scholars any visas to come to India to study India. So you wonder why U.S. universities didn't have any Indian studies programs. It's all about this. So that explains what's going on with all of that. Total mess. Meanwhile, but for Pakistan, as all this is going on, the Shah of Iran falls in, I think it's like February 1979, and then the Russians raid Afghanistan in December 1979, and suddenly Pakistan is totally essential once again. And the Pakistanis are really getting sick of being kicked around. So when outgoing President Jimmy Carter offers them, I don't know, $400 million or something, this is Zia here going peanuts to the peanut farmer. And the incoming Reagan administration then ups it to $3.2 billion. And that money gets funneled through the Inter-Service Intelligence Directorate. It's like the CIA plus in Pakistan. And when you put that kind of money into that kind of bureaucracy, you're going to make them incredibly powerful. And then they're the ones who decide how they're going to allocate money to insurgents in Afghanistan. And I got it, there weren't any great choices, but they're arming some really anti-Western folks in there. Probably some guy named Osama, last name Bin Laden. But anyway, I'm not sure of the details on that one. But it is going to have 9/11 follow-on effects. And also, the ISI is also taking some of that money and putting it into Kashmir, which is going to have real problems for India later on. So there are real ramifications for all of this, of needing Pakistan, but actually what is happening anyway. And then throughout, there is the Pakistanis are getting closer and closer to building the bomb. So when the Russians go piling into Afghanistan, here's Zbigniew Brzezinski, Carter's national security advisor, telling him, our security policy cannot be dictated by our non-proliferation policy. Really? I thought that was our security policy. And the problem with proliferation is it tends to be a one-way street, whereas Afghanistan has been anything but. And then here, Deng Xiaoping was in town, and he told Carter, we applaud your decision to basically toss all these proliferation human rights considerations for Pakistan and just arming them. No kidding, because the Chinese are providing the nuclear spare parts. So the United States isn't the only country to have trouble navigating this cutthroat billiards. The Pakistanis have their share of boomerangs. Just look how the wars work. So wars create incredible costs. So the 1965 war, the Pakistanis get exactly nothing. And the United States, Pakistan had been the largest aid recipient of I'm not sure if I got that right. But anyway, they're a huge aid recipient from the United States. Well, after this war, we're not so interested. So that's a lot of money down the tubes. And then in the 1971 war, great guys, you lose Bangladesh, which, by the way, has over half your population. So the Pakistan is no longer the most populous Muslim country. Indonesia is. And if you look at the Kargil War in 1999, this is when Pakistan tries to again go below the line of control in Kashmir to try to take some more of Kashmir back. Pakistan has to cross right back, and then it gets sanctioned for all of this. So none of these wars have actually worked out very well for Pakistan. And then if you think about it, India and Pakistan are natural trade partners. So if you take all these wars and just add up all the costs, and then think of the opportunity costs if Pakistan had been able to take this money and spend it on road systems, on education, and then all the lost trade, it gives you a sense of the real costs of all of this. Okay, well, those are Pakistan's problems. India has its own problems. Here you've got Indira Gandhi and Richard Nixon. They really didn't like each other. I mean, look at her. She looks as if she's just been fed bad fish, and he looks like he served it up. And they cannot abide by each other. So in the 1940s, when Kashmir is erupting, Indira Gandhi thinks, well, no, it's Nehru, her dad, thinks that the United States should be supporting India because it's secular and it's democracy. And the United States is appalled during the Korean War when India remains non-aligned instead of supporting the United States because it's secular and democratic. And the Pakistanis are totally outraged because they're looking at this go, okay, these Indians are non-aligned. We're aligned. We're taking these risks for at Peshawar and stuff with the U-2s. And you're helping these people who are about to ally with the Soviet Union? Who are you kidding? So it's a total mess. So the Indians have their own self-inflicted blows. Nehru and his very controversial, but his devoted advisor, Krishna Menon, and his daughter, Indira Gandhi, were really good at making these totally insulting remarks to American VIPs. Okay, it hits the target without a doubt, but the ego that has just been hit is huge. And like an elephant is not about to forget. And meanwhile, Pakistan, in contrast, is just being this welcoming host. So the United States is going, India and Pakistan is better. And it makes really bad trend lines for India because in the 1962 war, the United States supported India. In the 1965 war, it's neutral. In the 1971 war, it supports Pakistan. That's not great. And then India's own very heavy-handed treatment of solutions to the insurgency of Kashmir doesn't make that thing go away. It just gets worse. So they have their own problems. China also has its problems with the interaction. It's complicated. So on the one hand, on the Sino-Indian War, absolutely, China gets the territory. But at what cost? You've got this permanent enemy forever. And as opposed to teaming up with them, if they teamed up, they actually would have had incredible leverage for what the global order is going to look like. But that's just not to be. And moreover, if you look at the 1971 war, after the United States won't help with China, India's gone, okay, I think we need nuclear weapons because then we'll be able to protect ourselves against China. And after that war, when Pakistan's lost over half its population and has to deal with Indian population and territorial just overwhelming superiority, the Pakistanis go, I think we need nuclear weapons in order to solve this problem. So it's going to be proliferation all over the place.